Hey everybody, this is Francesco Abbruzzino with the Uncensored Report. Today, I have the privilege of interviewing Saltwater Patricia. She's on fire on Twitter, and she's on Facebook and everything else. She's an activist here in Southwest Florida, so we're going to talk to her a little bit about some of the trials and tribulations she's had being a vocal supporter of Trump and some other individuals on Twitter, and we're going to take it from here. So, Patricia, I see she's ready. Let's go over to her. Hey, Patricia, how are you?
That's good. Good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Now, this is our first time ever meeting, but we talk a lot.
Yep.
We talk on Twitter, right?
That's right. Yeah.
And it's funny because we're not going to say where you're from or anything like that because there's a lot of freaks out there, but we're relatively pretty close to each other.
Yes, we are. Yeah.
Now,
yeah.
I came by you through Twitter, and we were just talking off screen. Why don't you explain a little bit? Because right now you have just under, I think, 54,000 followers on Twitter. It's been exploding, and you have some some influential people that follow you. Like, why don't you go into this? What happened to your first account? Transitioned into now how you've evolved into another account that's 54,000, and what you recently did, which was a milestone that everybody was celebrating on Twitter.
Okay.
Which was Dinesh, in case you're not sure.
Okay, that's what you're talking about. Okay, so actually, I've been on Twitter for, 8 years or 9 years, something like that. I spent a lot of time like begging Donald Trump to run for president. I had maybe like a couple hundred followers.
Now that was interesting. So you were asking him to run before he announced it. What made you do that? What was the desire? I mean, because I used to watch him, but I never thought, well, get him to run. Okay,
so first of all, I think the very first time was like 2012 where I started pushing and saying, hey, you should run. Hey, you should run. I used to watch him. Obviously I watched the show. I only actually watched one season of Celebrity Apprentice, but I used to watch his interviews with like Greta Van Susteren, and then I'd see him do his live feeds from his office, and he'd always be commenting on all the local issues that Obama was working on, or in his case, actually not working on. So I just always identified with what he was saying. So I was like, God, this guy needs to run for president. We need an outsider. We need somebody who's not into politics who can actually change things. So at that point, that's when I started tweeting at him. But, as little old me, I had like 100 people following me. I don't even remember how I started collecting people. But all of a sudden, I was living in California at the time, and my folks and I were moving out to Florida. And so that's actually how I found you, because I started researching the area, and I think it was the Venice scoop or the Sarasota scoop. I started following that. And so I followed that. I drove across country with my mother, and as that was happening, my follower count just started growing and growing. And it was crazy. I had people watching me from the time I left California to the time I got to Florida, and here I am campaigning for Trump. So excited the day he came down the escalator. Obviously, I couldn't contain myself. I just was so excited.
Yeah.
And then, got to Florida, ended up with this crazy amount of followers. Like I said to you personally, it was like 32,000 followers. And I was being targeted by liberals. I was being targeted by even some conservatives, I guess, who didn't like me. And they started saying nasty things. I had people tell me that they were going to, put a gun to my head. I mean, they said they were going to light my house on fire.
What were some of the issues that they were taking issue with? Because you didn't see a lot of this pre-Trump, and now you're seeing more and more of this craziness. What were some of the issues that you were upsetting them so much over?
Just the fact that I supported Trump.
Really?
That was the only thing. Yeah. I'd have my MAGA hat on. I'd, just be saying things about Trump and what he was identifying with, what things he supported while he was running. And the most horrible things. Now, through the whole process, I had become friends with a lot of high profile people. The first person I'll tell you was Sean Hannity. He was the very first known person that started following me on Twitter. And I remember to this day, for like 2 months, I kept going back and, is he really following me? Did he unfollow me? And so it was really bizarre. And I'd screenshot it. I'd be like, holy crap, this person followed me. And it just became this thing. But then when my account got suspended, I had kind of had a feeling because I kept getting little notifications that I was in trouble because I mouthed off to somebody. So I was like, I think I'm going to get suspended. So I started telling, like Sean, I started telling some other people, hey, I think something's going to happen. I created a backup account. Please follow this account.
See, I wish I had the foresight you had. I was telling Patricia about my national page where I had 275,000 plus people following me, and I was targeted by BLM reporting me. But I didn't have the foresight to tell everyone, hey, I'm starting a new page. And so I'm down to 8,000 on Facebook trying to regenerate some interest, which is difficult.
Yeah, it's really hard once you've been asked to start from scratch.
Yeah.
I was lucky that I had some really good people that supported me and that were pushing me. So that was really cool. And I would send Sean things and he would retweet them, or he and I would have a rapport going back and forth with our tweets. So that would make more people follow me. So it was a little bit easier for me to collect new followers, but.
And you're real active on Twitter. I mean, and you don't back down. I read some of you guys. I'm gonna have her Twitter information below, but you gotta follow her. Which is what's your Twitter call sign?
At Trump Girl Strong.
At Trump Girl Strong. I mean, she doesn't back down, and you're like constantly on there battling individuals.
I am. And yes, warning, don't follow me if you can't handle bad language, because I do use it. I've been trying to pull back because I know it's not the best thing, but sometimes, man, you just need a good F-bomb to throw out there.
That, and you like doing a pound Insta-block.
I do. And people love that. They find it hysterical because, I mean, I'll just trash somebody and like emasculate them and then block them. And it's funny because it's a lot like what James Woods does. I don't know if you follow him or not.
I follow James, yeah.
He's hilarious. Yeah. I love him. So
I take a different approach because I get people that will write me with my scoop, and I'm similar to you, but at a local level, and I'll get people on there that will email me because they know I don't read the threads anymore, and they'll tell me, like the other day, I had some guy tell me that I'm responsible for ruining lives. And at the time, I think it was somebody that was arrested for a homicide, and I can't remember. And because I publicized it, he said, I'm responsible for ruining lives. And I get stuff like that all the time. And now they're emailing me. So, and I think they're just trying to get me to respond. So I'm like, Insta-block. Whatever Facebook is banned.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah. The key with Twitter, and then I realized this through my first account, is if you respond directly to somebody and you use foul language, or you call them a name or whatever, they'll find any reason to suspend you. But if you actually reply directly to them, that becomes a problem. What I've learned over time is if you retweet them and post your comments above it, you quote their tweet, you're not actually targeting them, so it's less of a chance of you getting in trouble.
Really, I didn't even catch that pattern. So you retweet and you'll copy what they said, and I know sometimes you'll write Twitter and what's his name, Jack.
Yeah, Jack.
Yeah, and you'll say, "Is this really acceptable?" I'm waiting for him to respond to. I'm like, is he ever going to respond?
I don't know. He won't. He won't. But it's crazy because, like, I don't know if you know who Mike Cernovich is.
Yeah, I know Mike. He's on Alex Jones. I listen to him a lot.
Okay, yeah, he's a friend, and he and I really support each other. He just recently had some reporter that's associated with, I believe it was the LA Times, that sent him, a foul direct message, and he reported on it, and the guy was actually suspended, or, they've disassociated themselves with this reporter. So, it's of every person of every caliber. It doesn't matter if you're just Joe Schmo or if you're somebody that's known. Sometimes, you're at risk.
Well, he was just targeted, too, by somebody. Who was he targeted by? Someone influential that came after him.
Oh, I don't know. He gets targeted by so many people.
Yeah, this was so much. God, it'll hit me halfway through. But yeah. Mike gets targeted a lot. He's I watch him. I follow him. He's interesting. And I started following him from the time he used to go on Alex a bit more. He's not on there as much anymore. I think he's doing a documentary now or something. Yeah, he's going to release it soon. So, yeah. So let's pop over, because now you've exploded. You said, screw you guys. You started this new account. And you're on fire at, I think, close to 54,000, whatever it is, 53. but with all of your channels, I know you're way over 54.
Yeah.
You did something that you got a tremendous amount of praise for. Why don't you go into that whole campaign and how this individual came on and thanked you? I saw a tweet. I think I saw a tweet where he came on thanking you for all your support.
Yeah, he did. So Dinesh D'Souza, for people that don't know, he got busted during the Obama era for donating too much money, which was totally bogus. It wasn't something that he intentionally did. Too much money, I'm sorry, to a political campaign.
It was very bogus.
It was. He was totally targeted. It was a political thing, big time. It was disgusting. I was really angry, and I've supported him for a long time, but during the campaign for president, Dinesh was really out there with his movies and his books. And I had the personal experience of watching his movies and books affect people and actually change them and turn them around. They woke up to a lot of the corruption that the Clintons are involved in. And so I always felt like he was a huge impact on the election. And without him, I think Trump still would have won, but I think it would have been a little bit tougher because maybe people that were huge Democrat, leaning hugely to the left, wouldn't have changed over or at least become centrist. So it was really important to me. And so he was another person, by the way, that had followed me originally on my first account, he and his wife. And so on my new account, I reached out to Debbie, his wife, and I said, hey, I really want to start a petition to get Dinesh pardoned. I mean, I was actually kind of pissed because, sorry, I don't know if I can use the word.
I cuss all the fucking time, Patricia.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, Trump was, President Trump, sorry, the president was pardoning, I'm blanking out here, Arizona.
He pardoned
the sheriff, Arpaio.
Yeah.
He pardoned Arpaio. He pardoned Christian Saucier. He was just throwing out pardons, and I thought, that's really strange because I think Dinesh should have been the first person that he pardoned. So I reached out to Debbie and said, hey, I think we should do this. And at the time, she was like, we're trying to work some back angles. Let us try doing that first. And then if that doesn't work, then you can start the petition. So that was like a couple months prior to when I started it. And then finally one day she was like, okay, go ahead. Let's just do it. And so I created this petition. She had sent me her letter that she had sent to the president. So I used some of that information, made sure I got her approval before I posted anything. And I posted this and it freaking went viral. But the crazy thing is it went viral, yet I think it only ended up with like 13,000 signatures, and you're supposed to get 100,000 to get it before the president. It was through the White House petition site. The website was totally tampered with. There was somebody on the inside that works that website that tampered with it. And the reason I can even say that so definitively now is because I started another petition to clear General Flynn.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Oh, yeah. And it's gotten 300 signatures in like a week.
Well, make sure when we end this that you give me that address and I'll share it. But
okay.
He is someone that I would hope, even without your petition, he would be pardoned. And I firmly believe that the FBI needs to be cleaned up. The way Rothenstein or Stein, whatever his name was, the way he interviewed before the Congress, that guy needs to be fired. But it's so political, if you fire him, there's going to be some kind of constitutional uproar and, everyone's going to go crazy. It's ridiculous. And if you dive into all the information out there, you got a clean house. But he's kind of, President Trump is kind of stuck. He can't go in and do this because of all the politics involved. But Congress, and I learned yesterday, I was watching a show, it was DeSantis, which is running for governor, I believe, here in Florida.
Yeah.
And some other guy, I forget his name, he's out of Texas, Gohmert.
Oh, Gohmert.
Yeah, they were on a show yesterday on Fox, and they were talking about, Gohmert came out and he said, it's the leadership. Basically, he said it's Paul Ryan, and when we can move forward and censure this guy, Paul Ryan pulls it off the table.
Yep. I have a huge problem with Paul Ryan. He's an establishment puppet. I cannot wait for him to get out. It can't come fast enough. But it is very frustrating because these guys are out there tearing up Rosenstein. I mean, DeSantis tore him a new one. Trey Gowdy, who I have not been a fan of because Trey seems to be all talk and no action.
There's concerns with him.
He tore him up. And who else?
Who was that? What guy? Rogers or something? There was another guy turned into him. Besides Congressman DeSantis, there was another guy. What was his name? His was phenomenal. Everybody, and it'll hit me in a little bit, but
yeah.
I was amazed by it.
I was so excited to see them, but I also knew that nothing was going to happen because nothing ever does happen. They keep having to threaten subpoenas. They threaten to, I think they gave them 7 days to get the information that they wanted, but they still haven't complied. It's like, what is going on? It's obviously this deep state thing, and I don't know how they can force them to give up the information. It's becoming a civil war. It is becoming a civil war in our country.
I basically did I do, as you probably know, those 5 to 8 minute rants, and I covered how we're going into this like soft civil war, and I went into the different facets of it, and you are seeing that, unfortunately. And I think a lot of it, in my rant, I said a lot of it's being drummed up by how mainstream media is covering it. Yep. And well, I don't want to get into that rant. Check it out on my page if you want. Go ahead, Patricia.
No, I mean, it's totally mainstream media. They're part of the deep state. They're just the people that portray the message that the government wants. And unfortunately, this is what we're getting from it. Look at Maxine Waters. Look at these crazy people that are saying go out and push back. It's like, do you really think? First, I don't even know how that woman is not in jail, because that's like blatant sedition.
She doesn't even live in her district.
I know, in her district, another one. I know.
How about the dealings with her husband and all the money that's flowed his way? But everybody turns a blind eye to it.
And it isn't her daughter. I think her daughter's on staff or something, paid like loads of money. Yep. So yeah, these people, they just want to keep their money.
What do you think about how she had pushed? I think she pushed Laura Loomer. I love Laura Loomer, but
yeah. She swatted her.
She is good.
She spit on her. Yeah, that lady is crazy, Maxine Waters. So it's nuts. It's pretty nuts. By the way, you mentioned DeSantis, and I don't know if you know he's going to be in Sanibel on Monday, and Tampa, and I believe Pensacola. He's going to be with Sean Hannity.
Well, why don't we cover this for a second? Because I think you and I had a brief conversation on a Twitter feed. It was about DeSantis and Putnam. I didn't know. I haven't really studied the two yet, and I don't like commenting on favoring somebody. I was impressed with DeSantis, and you said, well, you should support him because why should I support him or Putnam? I have some big issues over Putnam, but why don't you go into that and elaborate a little bit?
Okay, well, first of all, I have to say I am a Republican executive committee member. We are not allowed to endorse anybody. Okay. That being said, I do not like Adam Putnam. I'm sorry. He is establishment. He's a career politician. He's been in this his whole life. He's the agricultural this is a tongue twister, agricultural commissioner. Mm-hmm. And, with what's going on with the lake Okeechobee, and the drainage into the rivers, which then leads into the Gulf of Mexico, being where you and I are from, it is disturbing to see how bad the red tide is, to see the manatees floating up on the
sea
beach.
Turtles too. Did you see that from Moat?
Yep, sea turtle. I saw. I think they said grouper, which doesn't normally do that.
Yeah.
And
Did you see that? I put a video on my Scoop Facebook, and a guy went out and he was walking the beach, and he's looking at different segments of the beach where you had some big. I forget the type of grouper it was. And, I mean, it's had probably close to 1 million views, and it's amazing. I've never seen red tide that bad.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's so bad. And, I've only lived here in Florida for, not even 2.5 years. It's been just a little over 2 years now. So I'm still learning all the local issues, the things that need to be worked on, the things that need to be fixed. But this red tide thing has gotten so bad just in the 2 years that I've been here, and I'm realizing the correlation between that and Lake Okeechobee.
Well, I don't know. That is one issue, but I don't know if you've seen any of my some of the videos I put out about it. But prior to this conversation you and I are having, I was out and I'm putting together a small little video documentary. And I actually went in. There's pipes. I think on the island of Venice where I'm at, there's 17 pipes that flow out into the ICW and the Gulf. And I went out and I got down with my video, which I'll put out tomorrow probably, into one of the pipes. Because you can't see them. The palms are hiding them. just like you
Okay.
can't see them on the beaches until there's erosion. And
Right.
that wasn't that way. I moved here in '82. It was not that way, and we had some red tide, but it wasn't like at the levels now. We didn't have the beach closings. Like if you're familiar up here in Sarasota County, we've had beach closings due to
Yes.
bacteria. Because
Yes.
those pipes are flowing fecal matter, the septic backup, the fertilizer. It's all flowing through these pipes and into the water, and it's something the Southwest Florida Water Commission, I think, they did it throughout Southwest Florida, down where you're at, up here,
Right.
everywhere. And that, I think, is part of the reason, too, why besides the Lake Okeechobee, I think that's a huge issue. And I think they asked them to redirect it, and they basically told them, yeah, get lost. One of the
Yeah, I
Congress
heard
members.
that they were going to redirect it south. But see, my issue is like, why aren't they treating this as they're releasing it? Number one. Number two, they said they're releasing it because the lake can't hold all the water. But it's not just that the lake can't hold all the water. It's apparently not a dam, but whatever it is that holds it, keeps it in.
Yeah.
They're saying it's such an old structure. Well, fix the fucking structure. What the hell are we waiting for? You're waiting for a damn hurricane to come and blow the whole thing up, and then what happens? Then you have a whole community that's, either dead or underwater.
Well, then you got politicians like our mayor up here in the lovely city of Venice. He put out a comment the other day, and he said, I'm more concerned about these developers burning trees to develop all the land that I'm approving. I'm acting like I'm the mayor right now.
Yeah.
Because we can control that. We did it. We decided everything that went into that burning of the trees. We have no decision, no control over red tide. And I'm thinking, are you fucking an idiot?
Yeah.
And so he said the burning of these trees by developers is more of an environmental issue than red tide.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. But with that philosophy, with politicians having that philosophy, then that's part of the problem too, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it absolutely is. So, back to your original question, though, was about Putnam and.
Sorry. If you haven't noticed, I get distracted. You
it's all
got to rein
related.
me back in.
No, it's all related. But I feel like Putnam's had a lot of time to do what he's needed to do, and I don't see a big difference. I don't see what he's actually done. I feel like you got to give I kind of feel like this in any race, like you got to give somebody new a chance. Unless you have somebody phenomenal that's actually making some change, why not vote for somebody new? And I look at DeSantis and I look at how much he's fighting back against the establishment in DC, and I think, what if he could do that on our level? What if he could fix the issues that we have here, like the lake, like I personally think the economy sucks. I know everybody's telling me, oh, the economy's fabulous in Florida. No, I'm sorry. When minimum wage is $8 an hour or whatever it is, because I know it's really low, we got a problem.
Yep.
We need to bring bigger business in here. I know people don't want things to grow, but you really need to in order to make your state at least worth people coming to and wanting to move to. And because it's hard. It's not easy living here. I have to say that.
No, and I don't know how some people manage. They said that the median income for a 4-person family has to be about $72,000, I think, and they need to spend $1,400 on rent. And I'm like, where are you getting these numbers?
Yeah.
And I mean, it's a lot. It's pretty difficult here, and especially because most people aren't going to make $72,000 a year.
Right.
Even a husband-wife combination, a lot of them aren't going to make that kind of money. It's difficult.
Right. Yeah. And I come from California, where the wages are a lot cheaper.
Don't get me started on California. I have the same sentiment you have based upon your Twitter feeds.
Yeah, I was just in California a month ago, and for my nephew's graduation, and I was in shock. I was miserable. I couldn't wait to come home. 6 days in hell.
You
was
gathered
horrible.
that from your tweeting.
Tent cities everywhere, homeless. I mean, it's awful. It's awful.
Yeah,
so.
I did a report on on LA and the homeless issue and Skid Row and everything, and how it's gotten even better, and they're basically just defecating in the streets and stuff, and and how it's so horrible anymore. And, the total, and I agree with you. It's, I hear everyone saying the economy is great, but, what people don't realize, it's kind of like inflation. Inflation, you'll take, let's say you got 32 numbers, they'll cherry pick the 3 numbers they want to say there's no inflation. And for the last 5 years, I've been saying, I go to Publix, there's frickin' inflation, man. I'm seeing it. And then jobs, they're like, oh yeah, we got all these great jobs. Well, the great jobs record, well, now, this is one thing. Let me ask you this, because this is Trump related. And I'm a Trump fan. I voted Trump, but I'm not at the level you're at. Okay.
Yeah.
And so when he looks at the unemployment number, he's kind of doing what Barack did and everybody else before him, where he's not looking at the people that have left the payrolls. And they say if you look at them, it's really like 26% or whatever that percentage is.
Right.
And I could have sworn that when he was out there running that, he noted that issue with Barack, and it's like, well, you're basically doing the same thing.
Right.
What are your thoughts on that?
I hear that, and, I don't love it either, but I do think he's changed things. I think he's given people a lot more hope. He has encouraged factories to reopen or open bigger factories, hire more people. So I do think the unemployment rate has gone up. I do think that there are a lot of people, gone down. Let me correct myself. The unemployment rate has gone down. But, unfortunately, there are a lot of people that are out of the workforce that have been out for years that haven't gotten back in. And I don't know how we're going to fix that. I think, maybe retraining.
Well, it's going to be hard because we sold out to China, and I love how he's trying to bring all the work back. A lot of people criticize him for this tariff war. Yes. But it's not a tariff war. He's just trying to make everything right. And for years, the Europeans, the China, the Asians, they've all been screwing us. But we're trying to make it right. And here we come with the propaganda media saying, "Oh my God, what's he doing? It's going to kill us. We're all going to die." You would think it was nuclear the way they cover it.
Well, we were going to be dead when day one when Trump was in office.
Yes, I recall that.
We were going to be at World War III, and that's the thing. The media is propaganda. It's a darn shame. It's a darn shame because he's battling the media, he's battling the liberals. And then he's battling all the people that are eating up what the liberals and the media are feeding them. So he's I think in a much worse situation as far as like obstacles are concerned than Barack Obama was.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, he plays it well because there's sometimes I'll see you and he'll do something that's got me thinking, "What the hell are you doing?" And you're very supportive, and I'm like,
yeah.
But then it ends up that you were pretty much right, that it ends up turning in that direction, and he does that a lot. What do you think? Now, one other concern, and I don't have a lot of issues with him. One other concern I have, and I think it's that whole military-industrial complex and the politicized politics, is stuff like Yemen. I know that the U.S., Canada, and United Kingdom have sold millions of dollars. We're over there. We're in Yemen. We're bombing the hell. We're involved in that proxy war between Saudi Arabia and Iran. A lot of innocent people are dying. And I wish we would pull back from stuff like that. Now, and obviously he knows a lot more than me. Maybe he's got some intelligence and stuff, but that stuff worries me. Yeah. What are your thoughts?
I agree. No, I absolutely agree with you. The thing is, he has only been in office for a year and a half. We don't know what he's doing behind the scenes. I mean, I don't know if you've actually heard more about that than I have, because I haven't really heard too much about it. I don't know if he's pulling out, if he's, I don't really know what's going on over there, but I do have to say I trust him. It's just something that I've always felt with him based on the things that he said prior to him even, jumping in the race to run. All the things I heard him say, talking about pulling out of Iraq and doing this, and he just, I really do have faith in him. Now, on another level, and this is something that I had to talk a lot of people through the campaign, because I know a lot of different people, I have gotten a lot of insider information that other, normal people don't get. So I would go to certain people, and I'm not going to name names, and no, it's not Sean Hannity, but there's somebody in particular that I'm very close with that is very close to the president, and I would go to him and I'd say, hey, this is what we're all concerned about. This is what people are coming to me with. And he would write a long, either a text message, an email, whatever it was, he would write up, this is what Trump is facing. This is what he's got to do, and we need to keep faith. And then he'd say to me, if you see me run, then you run. And so I would actually take those blurbs and I would tweet them out. And there were some of them that got like 5,000 retweets.
Yeah.
And it really kept people going. So I think that's been another reason that I've been there on Twitter, to pass a message along that, people wouldn't necessarily have access to. So I really trust the president through things that I hear from insiders, and then things that I knew about him beforehand. I trust him. I really do. I hope that things change, like in Yemen. I hope we start pulling out of other countries. I hope we get that damn wall up and keep all the illegals out. Not all. I know it's not going to happen, but realistically, I hope we can deport as many people as possible. Illegals, especially the felons.
Yeah.
Get them out. But I do. I really trust Trump 100%.
Well, let's delve into the illegals. I remember I did a rant covering MS-13 way before Trump brought it up as an issue. I don't even know if he was in office yet. And I've always been tracking it. And my dad, I know you're Italian, my dad immigrated here legally, okay? And I don't see other people. I think other individuals should take the same road. And I think somebody said it best is, why are you swimming across this canal when you can legally go through the legal port of entry down the road? So what are your thoughts on the separation of the kids? Now, one thing I did learn, I don't know how many people, and I think you might have frozen up, so I don't know if you're going to come back. If not, dial in. Melania Trump went down to Texas, and she visited, and one thing I caught was there was a group of individuals there that helped the illegal immigrant kids. And they said, look, out of 20,000, maybe 2,000 have been separated by their parents, which is bad. It should never happen. But it's not as bad as the media is making it sound like. And they're missing a lot of the issues. So they're out there propagandizing it and, hyping it. So what are your thoughts on that? Let's see if she's back. Oh, so we'll wait for Patricia to come back. Let me just flip over to this screen. So we're going to wait for Patricia to call back in. But it's interesting because you see that, and there's more to the story that they're not covering. Also, one thing that always amazed me is that the individuals will sit there and say that it's just started, or give the impression that it just started under Trump. And it basically didn't. If you do some research, it's been going on Bush, Clinton, for as long as it could be. And there's individuals out there that will play videos, and I'm going to try to call Patricia while I'm doing this. There's individuals out there that will do videos basically illustrating what politicians have said in the past in regards to these illegal kids, and the fact that they should be separated from their parents, and the fact that they should be locked up. And so I think I'd sent out something this afternoon where I said, and it was on my national page, where I said that, there's the media again. How did we ever trust them when they put out so much propaganda? It's amazing. And this was on an issue where somebody discovered something was communicated wrong by the media. And how many and I looked at it and said, we're lucky that we have independent media out there to try to bring some truth, some sense to it all, because for so many years we were lied to, we were propagandized, they weaponized media, and we all believed it, thinking, well, that's the truth. That's the way it's coming out. It must be accurate, and it's got to be that way. So, that stuff always does amaze me as we wait for Patricia. Now, something else she told me is she's actually pretty interesting because one thing I wanted to talk to her about, she brought up Mike Cernovich, and he's making a documentary. If you don't know him, he's an attorney. He owns a media company, and he gets a lot of inside information, very accurate. He's a target of the left. They come after him on a regular basis. And Mike like I told her, he's putting out this documentary. Well, this documentary may make him an even more of a target, because now people within the Mueller investigation are looking at individuals that have put out documentaries to try to see where finance came from for those documentaries. And I think we have her back. Hey, I was talking amongst myself here. Sorry, we lost you there. I somehow after I lost you, I went from immigration into Mike Cernovich movies and how people making documentaries are being targeted. What? I think I lost you on the immigration and the kids, and basically you weren't there, so I'll try to recap it.
Okay.
I was talking about where Melania went there. Melania Trump, Melania. She met with some individuals that are in charge of the children when they come across the border, and they said, hey, look, these are unaccompanied kids. They're not coming here with parents. We're not separating them. And I think it was like a small, maybe 10, 20% that were being separated. But what the media easily, conveniently leaves out is the fact that it's been done for years. And then I also covered how there's been video clips of previous presidents, previous presidential candidates, politicians, saying that this was a good thing. This was policy.
Yeah.
So why don't we pick up from there? What are your thoughts on all that? The kid immigration, the illegal immigration. The other thing I said is I heard on a news show, they said, you know what? They're all coming across the Rio de Janeiro, the river right down here. Why don't you fucking go down the road there and come in legally, and you won't have an issue.
Exactly.
So go ahead. What are your thoughts on that?
Those were my sentiments exactly. Like, seriously, if you wanted to come here legally, like my family did, my grandparents or great grandparents. There was a time and a day where people had to come through Ellis Island. They had to take medical tests and make sure they were clean. They had to have a sponsor. They had, that was responsible for them. I mean, things have just changed so much. It's ridiculous. So, yes, I'm in total agreement with you on that. Regarding the kids, I have to say, one thing that people don't talk about enough is how much President Trump has tackled the child trafficking issue. The arrests have been up for child traffickers, for pedophilia. There's been a lot of stuff happening behind the scenes that people don't know about. But one of the reasons that kids are separated from these adults is to make sure that they are related to the adults and that they're not with a child trafficker who, that's like a normal thing for them to do in Mexico, to bring children over the border and sell them off. So they leave that whole part out of the scenario. They have to be separated. And then number two, I say put them back together and ship them back to Mexico or Guatemala or wherever they came from. Like, yeah, they should be together, but not here because they don't belong here.
Well, another interesting concept was, why is there a way to work with Mexico to change the approach they've had so that they're not letting the immigrant flow up from Guatemala to make it so that life is better in Mexico? But then somebody said, Mexico's so corrupt. Good luck at that.
That's the thing. I mean, I don't think there's a chance in hell. It's like, Trump is the master negotiator. I think he would have been able to negotiate something by now, but that little shit Enrique Peña Nieto, he's just as corrupt as the rest of them. And then I don't know if you've seen the former president, Vicente Fox.
Yeah, lovely guy.
F-bombing at Trump.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. I think that's going to be a really tough one to get Mexico to work with us.
Yeah, and like I said, my dad immigrated here, but he did it legally. He came here when he was 18, 19. And so I have a heart, and I feel for these guys that are immigrating, but do it like my father did. My father couldn't just walk across the border,
Yeah, exactly. We made it too easy, and I think the wall would solve a lot of this issue.
Yeah, I think it drives me crazy that so many, the Clintons, everybody was for a wall, was for some form of wall, be it electronic, upgrading the security forces on there. But now they're all saying, no, we weren't. It's like, you know what it is?
Yeah. Did you see that video?
Politicians think we're all idiots.
I know.
We don't have a memory. We forget every freaking thing they ever tell us.
I know. That's why I love when people pull up video and just go, oh? It's like, yeah, you did say that, jerk.
But don't you ever feel sometimes like, I feel like, and especially on Twitter, is that I'm in an echo chamber. and we're all saying the same stuff and you're not getting away. That's why sometimes, I got the, I think locally I have like 90,000 people with my different platforms. So every day I try to put something out there because I know I'm impacting someone that's not part of my echo chamber.
Yeah.
And that's the downside I have with Twitter is it seems like it's a huge echo chamber. You know, my 8,000 or 9,000 people that follow me because they all share the similar ideology as me. And so then if that's true, are we accomplishing anything? Thoughts?
Yeah, no, I mean, I've been feeling that way a lot lately. Like, why am I really there? And there are times where I just want to shut it all down because it's so exhausting, and it is an echo chamber. I mean, we are talking to ourselves, or we're just attacking the other side. And what's the purpose? You know, it's not making anybody listen to us. It's not making them hear our ideas. So, you know, I don't know. A couple months ago, or maybe a month ago, I I actually deactivated my account.
Oh, you did?
I was planning on doing it for a couple of days, and I think it lasted one day because all of a sudden people started flipping out, and I was getting text messages. I was getting messages on my Facebook. I mean, people were freaking out. I'm like, all right, I'll go back. But I do feel that way. I feel the same as you, that sometimes it's like, what's the purpose of it? But then, you know, I get people that say, please don't leave. You know, you keep us going. And I'm like, okay. I mean, going where? I'm not really sure. But it's like Groundhog Day on Twitter.
You know, I get the same thing locally. Because I don't know if you know this, but I backed off. I used to, you know, I get like 600,000 people to my website every month. And the last 3-4 days I backed off because it's hard. I don't have the money. Nobody wants to donate. Nobody wants to advertise because, you know, I have this policy that if your business is hit with negative news, fuck you. I'm putting it out there. I don't care if you're an advertiser because I don't need the money. So basically nobody wants to do anything with me. But I have a philosophy of you because I noticed you put something out where you get people that want you to disseminate information constantly for free. And then when you do it, they still hate you. If you say no to them and don't do anything, they hate you, and it's like a no-win situation. But I guess I wanted to see, you know, you're an attractive, intelligent woman. What do you think is the best approach to try to fix it so that you get outside this echo chamber? Is it this new approach? Because I think you said you're going in a new direction. You're going to try this. You got a Patreon account. Why don't you cover that? And what do you think the best approach is to try to get in touch with these people that aren't part of that echo chamber?
Oh, gosh. You know, it's a question I've been asking myself, and I don't know that I really have an answer right now. I am, you know, I've done Periscope more, but even that, you attract trolls, that people that don't really want information. They're just there to attack you. So
and some of them make, I noticed, some sexual innuendos. How do you say that towards you? Because you block a lot because they'll say something sexual to you. I'll see, and then I see that you blocked J&J.
Yeah. No, I get that all the time. And that's another issue as a female that you have to deal with, because then you get people sending you naked pictures. You get people that, I mean, people send you so much crap, or, you know, it's overwhelming. I tell people, like, I stop following people because they just feel free to send you a direct message about anything and everything. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I can't be friends with 30,000 people. It's just not physically possible. Mm-hmm. So I don't know how to bridge the gap. I really, honestly, am not sure. But I am. I recently went on a show with the host Chris Berg. It's based out of Fargo, North Dakota. It's called Point of View. And so I went on his show to talk about Dinesh. And so we've been talking about doing some things together, possibly. So I am trying to get outside of my market. But I don't know that it's even really reaching another audience. Again, I think it's still reaching the same conservative audience. But at this point, I'm honestly not even sure how we can reach across the divide. There's so much bitterness and so much anger in this country, and that's what we need, somebody innovative enough to come up with an idea on how we can actually connect with people.
Yeah, and that's something I think about all the time, because I hate this echo chamber thing, and it's like, well, how can you, and you know, my approach is a little bit more soft, where I try not to go too far right or too far left, and I try to say, here's the middle of the road, and try to give both information, which is hard, especially when I'm more of a libertarian type person, and sometimes it's difficult for me to do that.
Yeah, well, I'm not, you know, here's the funny thing. I'm a registered Republican. I am in the Republican Party here, but I've never considered myself one. I've never been into politics. I mean, little bit here and there, but I've always been middle of the road. There were times that I actually held, dare I say, a few liberal values. Like I was more open to certain things that I'm probably not necessarily open to now. I've changed over the. I don't like the Republican Party either. I don't like being lumped into anything, to be honest with you. I prefer to just be me and say this is what I believe in. I don't want to be identified with this group, because then you have people like the Mitch McConnells and the Paul Ryans that lead the party. I don't want to be associated with them.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a Trump Republican, to be honest with you.
I'm a registered independent, and I think the Republican and the Democratic Party are one and the same in my mind. The downside to
Pretty
that
much.
is, and we're going to transition to local politics because you're right around the corner, and we'll have the same congressman, woman.
Right.
That one thing that drives me crazy about county commissioners in Sarasota, Paul Caragiolo, he's a friend of mine. I've interviewed him on here, and he was running, against some fellow Republicans, and basically whoever won that ticket was going to take the seat because the Democratic individuals, candidates weren't going to win. But because I wasn't a Republican, I'm a registered independent, I couldn't vote, so I couldn't have any say in who was going to be my next county commissioner.
Yep.
And what are your thoughts on that? I don't know if it's the same where you're at, and I don't want to say, if you want to say where you're at, that's fine. What are your thoughts on, let's see, we got, you and I have the same, I think states, we have the same Congress member, governor.
Right, we do.
I think we might have the same state senator.
Rubio?
Huh?
Rubio?
No, state.
Oh, state.
Yeah, so because I know locally,
Ruby.
Vern Buchanan's son James is running in that district, and I think it covers your area. I'm not positive.
Okay.
It depends on how far south you are.
Yeah.
He's a carpetbagger too, by the way. I mean, he doesn't live in our district, and he's running. But go ahead. I'm like, why don't you freaking run against Good again? And now Good. I don't know if you know her. She's in the city of Sarasota. She's like this staunch socialist. She's for the sanctuary city.
God.
She's for taking your guns. She's along the lines with the guy that's running against Vern Buchanan. He's a PIP attorney. Oh God, what's his name? Shapiro. And they had a basically Gabby, the lady that was shot, the gun advocate. She came up to his rally the other day.
Oh, really?
And they were pushing that whole, take the guns away. And it ran into trouble because one of the city of Sarasota individuals took a picture and basically put out a tweet or something on Facebook that promoted this Second Amendment issue where they wanted to take the guns, but it was on the city page.
Yeah.
And which is a no-no. But I know for sure Congress and governor. Now you can't say because you're a Republican executive on the party there, but what are your thoughts? Can you give us your thoughts? We got Stubbe. What do you think about Stubbe? I was telling you before the show that he comes off as an idiot just looking at his website because he's sitting there half-shaven, like me, with a cowboy hat. Now, it's okay for me because I'm an idiot on a show. He's an idiot that's run for office, and I don't think a lot of people like him.
Yeah. Actually, you know what's funny is out of everybody, he's the one I see the most for the bumper stickers and little signs and stuff.
Really? So he's spending the most money right now on that stuff.
I guess, but I think, doesn't he come from like a well-to-do family, or
I believe so. And he's an attorney, but he's a carpetbagger. He does not live in our district.
Yeah. Like I told you, because we did speak briefly before. I mentioned that I saw him at an event. I was working with Bill Akins, who's running for Congress in the same race. I was with him at an event, and all the people were there, which I met Julio, by the way, and I found Julio very nice, very charismatic. He, I think, out of everybody, had the most energy and just kind of kept people going. And, it's kind of like Trump in that regard. He's not like Trump. I'm not comparing him at all. But he's got an energy about him that excites people. So I feel like he might have a lead or something. I don't know. I haven't looked at the polls.
My only concern with Julio, and like I said, I've interviewed him. I voted for him for the state when he ran. His daughter went to high school here with my daughter. His practice right around the corner. But my only concern with him is how he's a staunch religious zealot. It seems like sometimes, which concerns me a little bit.
Yeah, that's a problem for me as well with any candidate. So, but Greg Stubbe, I had run into him and didn't particularly care for him. He didn't. I smiled at him. He just looked the other way, and it's probably because I was with Bill Aikens. But I think that's really rather immature. And I remember I told Bill at the end, go up to him and you tell him, you shake his hand and you say, good job tonight. And he did that. And the look on Greg Stubbe's face was like, holy crap, I can't believe somebody just did that. But that's the adult thing to do. Like, that's what Trump always did. He may have talked, he may have said Little Hands Rubio or whatever his name is, but he always went up to people and gave them respect afterwards. So, he rubbed me the wrong way, Greg Stubbe. So,
why don't you tell me a little bit about this guy, Bill? Because I've read about him. And I don't know him well. Is he down in your area? Is that where he's from?
Yes, I believe he's in Port Charlotte or Punta Gorda. Okay. He was the person that was behind the veteran. So he raised money to build that veterans wall in Punta Gorda. Okay. Now, mind you, that was already done when I moved here, so I met Bill and just heard a brief story about it, and I did go to the veterans wall with him, and it was a beautiful thing to see. But he was behind that. He raised the money. At one point, I believe he and several other veterans turned their backs on Marco Rubio when he was there at the wall opening.
Why did they do that?
I forget what Marco did. I don't remember what it was. Marco did or said something, and they just all turned their backs to him. Really? And I do not like Marco Rubio. I am not a fan. I want him out of office so bad. Unfortunately, he was the only person I could vote for, during the election. So he was it, because I wasn't going to vote for the Democratic person. The fact that Bill did that showed me that he was a little bit more like anti-establishment, like, let's get some fresh blood in. I don't like these people that are always taking the money of the people and then doing whatever it is that they want to do. Yeah. So, and then obviously he's a vet, so he spent many years in war, and he's got multiple awards, medals.
Is he a doctor, or is that another guy? I know.
Yeah,
I think there's another guy that's a doctor besides Julio. No. Who's the other person running?
I can't remember. I don't remember who else is running, to be honest.
I'll have to check, but I think those three may be the front runners in terms of name recognition. Stevie, Julio, and Platt.
One thing that Bill did post was there was an article in the paper that was showing like the grades that each of the people that are currently in office have. And I know that I believe it was like an F or something that Stubbe had. It was a D or an F. And then Julio had a C. And I don't remember who the other people were that were in that list. I just was paying attention to Bill's competition. So I found that kind of interesting. Bill, I know he wants to go in. He wants to get into D.C. and fight the establishment. He has a pledge on his page. If you want to interview him, I'd be happy to connect you with him.
I actually put out a call, and I think most people missed it, I offered interviews for anybody that's interested in any of the politicians. I haven't heard from any of them. But I know a few said that they were interested, and you would think, especially me, because in this area I have a huge audience that could help them and get a better feel for the individual. But I hate Julio. I think I wonder if he's too much establishment too. And I doubt you saw this, but Vern Buchanan is basically Sarasota North. And he's running this commercial saying, I'm going to fight these guys. They disgust me. I'm not going to take this bull. And I'm like, who the fuck is it? This guy is an anti-Trumper. He's total establishment. Where's he going with? Now, what sucks, though, is a comment you made is there's only Shapiro and there's Vern Buchanan. Who do you go with?
Right.
Do you go with the guy that wants sanctuary cities, that wants to take your guns, that's a liberal, far left-leaning, or do you want this far-right guy that is an establishment? You're screwed. We're all screwed.
Yeah. You just have to pick the lesser of two evils. Even I don't know. It's sometimes they're both equally as evil. that you don't know who to vote for. And that kind of brings me back to Putnam and DeSantis. I don't know if you saw the debate the other day.
I saw bits and pieces of it.
So I actually watched the whole thing and I found it very interesting. Ron was saying all the right things as far as like fighting back and this is what I do and I stand with President Trump, and he actually defended a lot of things that Trump's been dealing with. And then he threw back at Putnam, which I actually found kind of hysterical. He was like, you're basically anti-Trump. Where were you? You couldn't have. They said they couldn't have found you with a search warrant during the campaign. Like you were never there supporting Trump, and I was dying. I'm like, oh my god. So everything DeSantis was saying was stuff that I identified with. So I do appreciate when I get a candidate like that, where time, yay, I'm totally with you on that. So it sucks when you get two shitty candidates and you're like, oh, crap, what do I do now?
Now, who do you think Scott's leaning towards? Because I think Scott's leaning towards Putnam, but I don't know. He's good buddies with Trump. And Trump's leaning towards DeSantis, I think.
I don't know. Well, yeah, he already endorsed DeSantis. Okay. And then obviously Sean Hannity endorsed him because Sean's going to have him on his show this whole week, him and Matt Gaetz. So that's kind of cool. But I don't know with Governor Scott, and I have to be honest with you, I am not a fan of his. I used to really like.
You know that, right?
Yeah, I know. But unfortunately,
I still wonder how he got elected because I never hear anyone say they're a fan of Governor Scott.
Yeah, like I thought he was doing some of the right things, but then, there are things like when he went against the NRA and was like, oh yeah, we're going to go 18 and over, not 18 over, I'm sorry, 21, and we're going to change the law to 21 and over for purchasing a gun.
Oh, that pissed me off.
And yeah, that really pissed me off. And since then, I'm like, okay, you lost me. And so now I'm screwed because I don't know what I'm going to do for senator.
I can't stand Nelson. The way
yeah,
he talks,
I know.
It's like he's struggling to talk. But you know what? What about tomorrow? And you probably saw this because I put it out a lot. But I don't think you read my stuff all the time, Patricia. But that's okay.
I don't see it all the time. I have to see it.
The beaches. Well, you know what? I think Facebook cuts my algorithms.
Yeah, I'm sure they do.
Because I've seen a dramatic drop, and I think I'm tagged some way. But our beaches.
You should maybe do a newsletter.
There you go.
Just an FYI, because if you do a newsletter, then it forces people, like, they have to see it, and they go, oh, I want to see this video. So anyway,
and it's funny, I got a ton of emails, because to go on my website and read, you got to register your email.
Okay. Yeah, you should do that.
I got a shitload of those. The beaches, tomorrow, because I see you're always tweeting. You love the beach. You're the Saltwater Patricia here. Tomorrow goes into effect, and I was talking about the Grand Prix, and basically we have in Florida, as we can go on a public beach up to the beach line. From the beach line to the house is now the property owners. Your lovely Governor Scott signed that in.
Yes.
How the hell did that? I did not even see that until it was passed. I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah, we never heard about it. And that's the thing. They do a lot of that too. It's like, what? Where did this come from? How about we the people have a say?
I'm still amazed by that. But doing stuff like that, the gun issue you just brought up, doing stuff like that, that beach issue has a lot of individuals pissed off. And it should.
I mean, that's such a huge part of Florida, like being on the coast and you want to go to the beach and, especially when the beaches get friggin' packed, then what?
How about the re-nourishment? Are they going to, like right now there's a state of emergency at Lido and they're coming in and re-nourishing it. And I don't know how that plays into it, but do you think I was against the re-nourishing prior to this. Do you think I want to freaking pay to re-nourish your property?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't know. It seems like a lot of things are changing for the negative that I'm not really happy with. And I mean, that's not really Governor Scott though, right? That's like a local thing.
No, it's the state of Florida that was passed by the two houses in Florida, and Governor Scott signed it.
Okay.
He didn't veto it. He actually was for it. But like you said, you're kind of screwed because it's just like the Vern and Shapiro election. You got Nelson, who's he's pretty much solid in there, and then you got Scott challenging him. But Scott's out there saying that, I'll challenge him. I'm not the career politician. You're not the career politician. Did you see that commercial? Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
And it's like they think we're all idiots.
They do. Unfortunately, though, a lot of people are because they don't pay attention, and that's what we've got to get to change. We've got to get people to wake up and pay attention
So
to
how do
what's
we do
going
that?
on. I know. I wish I had an answer. Right now, I'm like at a loss for
I
words.
put out something really stupid. Really stupid. I don't
What?
even remember what it was. It was so ridiculous. And as usual, it got like, an engagement of like 12,000, 14,000. And somebody
Uh-huh.
came on there and said, "Oh, I love this kind of stuff. It's a lot better than politics." And she got all kinds of likes. And I'm like, and I didn't say anything on it because I rarely comment publicly. So I did a
Yeah.
rant. And I'm like, are these people that ignorant? Politics might suck. It might be boring. You might hate it. These guys are
Yeah.
the ones that are determining if
Your
regulations are
future.
into play, if stuff that's going to impact your business, if you're going to pay
Yeah.
taxes. You should. Here in Venice, we've had like with fees and taxes, something like 7 increases in 2 years. But because
Yeah.
these people have that goddamn level of ignorance,
Yeah.
they're able to pass all this stuff.
Yeah.
So how do you
No,
get
I
them
know.
engaged? Come on, you're
Yeah,
a bright
you got.
lady. Tell us how. What do we
Oh
need to do?
gosh, I don't know. I don't. I mean, we got maybe it would even start in the high school level where we get people more excited and stop freaking teaching activism and bullshit in the schools. Like it's all liberal
Do you
indoctrination.
think that's going to happen? The school,
No,
in
I
my
know.
mind, the schools are educating us to become the workers that go out and make the machinery run for the wealthy.
Yep.
They don't
No, I
want us
know.
to think. They don't want us to have a free mind. They want you to follow. The what's the word I'm looking for here, Patricia? They want you to step in line and basically follow and do what you're told.
Yeah, they're teaching them to be sheeple, just to
Sheeple.
follow the lead, and yeah, but I mean, then again, like we're also like the generation, the high school generation, the college generation. I don't even know X, Z, Y. That I can't even generations, the millennials and all this crap. But we're so like social media. We're geared towards social media that not even Twitter and Facebook. They're geared towards Instagram and freaking Snapchat. Gee. Like that's the way people live nowadays. Like somebody was telling me the other day, they mentioned the IG report, and somebody responded. A young woman responded and said Instagram, and I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? And that's the problem. I mean, these kids that their parents aren't teaching them. They're not, they're either indoctrinating them or they're just not teaching them at all. I don't know how to get people excited.
So many people are so focused, and they sit in front of the TV or in front of their palm, their computer, their iPhone, and they don't know what's going on around them. And I've fallen into that trap where after I'm done working, which is almost all the time, I'll sit in front of I used to sit in front of the TV. Next thing I know, 5 hours passes. I don't do it anymore. I'll watch a documentary maybe a night. I try not to even sit down.
Yeah.
I'm always trying to go because it's all part of that process where they're just making you the sheeple. They're trying to. It puts you in this state of mind where you're not thinking about anything. You're a zombie.
No, you're not. Yep. Yep, that's what we've become. That is exactly what we've become. I don't watch TV anymore. I don't watch any shows. I once in a while will sit down and watch Fox News, but it's not my favorite thing to do. I don't like to watch the shows anymore, the Tuckers and sorry, Sean, but the Seans. I prefer to just get the news of the day if I do that at all, which I usually don't. But if I do, it's going to be just like the news of the day. Of course, now it's all shootings left and right, and idiot Maxine Waters and. But to consume, it makes you a zombie. It's all indoctrination. It's all one-sided. Nobody ever, although I have to say, Roseanne did a damn good job of showing both sides of the spectrum. I don't know if you saw her show. I support her 100%. And I even support her stupid comment that she made that she got attacked and downed for. But I'm really upset that she didn't defend herself.
She's on Ambien. I think her comment was about that, and Ambien came out with this stupid commentary, which was good for retweets. But Ambien, a lot of people on that shit do stupid things, and it's not only that. I watch Joe.
Yeah.
I listen to Joe Rogan a lot, and he talked to Roseanne, and it goes beyond that. He's like, she's on all kinds of meds, she's drinking, and he wasn't criticizing her. He was actually trying to come out and support and say, look, she's going through a lot. And, I put out a thing today about mental health because I was at the gym, And I've been watching Anthony Bourdain, and he was in Argentina, and in there he was talking. I guess a lot of them are on therapy. He was talking to a therapist, and he was just talking about how he isn't happy. And I was like, wow, that is crazy, because he just killed himself. So I played on my report. I played his video, and then I talked about suicide and the breakdown of mental health, how there's no more beds, facilities, how they're pushing the pills, and but it all goes along with that, creating this zombie state, with the flicker rate on the TV, keeping them distracted so that they can go out and push their narrative, their prerogative, their whatever their priorities are, and we won't stop them because we're distracted.
Yeah, and the other issue that kind of goes along with that in being zombies is that there's no God left. Like, God has been taken out of everything, and I feel like that is one of the biggest things. Like, God is my savior. That's what keeps me going. And so if people had that, maybe they wouldn't, be so quick to kill themselves. Maybe they'd actually go, I've been through depression. I'm not going to lie. I've had major depression in my life, and, you just work through it. But I in the end, it's always like, well, God is my savior, and I'm just not going to do that. And I just feel like the fact that we've taken God out of everything gives people a lot less hope. There's no hope for anything anymore.
I'm not the most religious. I am baptized. I'm Catholic, and I have a lot of issues with the Catholic Church.
Oh, me too. I'm Catholic too, and I'm the same exact way as you.
I believe there's a higher power, and I believe that the churches are great because they give a medium for someone to go in and find that spirituality, find their way in life. You don't necessarily have to follow the ideology that they're spitting out, the dogma, but
correct.
I agree. There's not enough of that. They're really they push against it. All media pushes against it.
Yeah, we can't even say God bless you. It's like everything's offensive now. So that's where I'm saying, like, I feel like it's just been pulled from us. I'm not even talking about the religion.
You can now with the Donald.
Well, we can now. We can now.
But you know what? Alex Jones, who obviously talks to Donald Trump, and he said he didn't get this from Donald, but he got it from a lot of the people, the Roger Stones of the world, I guess. I don't think it came from Roger, but that Trump really doesn't have a great deal of interest in running again, which I can't blame him. But he's preparing to run in case, but he really would rather step down. What do you think about that?
I don't think that that's the case. I mean, anything is possible because he always has a plan. And I don't think that he's going to be like telling the whole world that. But, is working on trying to get on his 2020 campaign. And I don't know, but if he didn't run, I would be happy to see Don Jr. run.
I think he would be eaten alive, and I don't think Don Jr. after this experience wants anything to do with it. Although he is a badass. He holds his own on Twitter. Yeah, no,
I love him. We'll see what's going to happen, but I'm not a fan of Pence, so I would not want to see him run. I don't know what's going to happen, but I don't believe that. I think he will run, but anything's possible.
There's always hope.
I'm hoping, but I mean, he's 70, what? 70.
Yeah,
74.
I got to tell you, I would not want to run. It's great. I respect him, and I'm glad he did run. I think he's bringing a lot of issues to the forefront. But the hell his daughters, his sons, his wife, himself have been through. I wouldn't wish that upon anyone.
I know. But you know what? Nobody else could have done it, and that was the thing. As far as nobody else could have been the one to take that nomination and actually beat Hillary. And that's what people don't understand, because everybody else would have been railroaded by her so fast. So I do, and like we just talked about, I'm not religious, but I definitely believe in God, and I know that he's a godsend. So
we'll go ahead and wrap it up now. Let's go ahead and plug your sites. I'm going to put them all on the bottom here, but where can people primarily find you?
Okay.
Give us your Twitter, all that information.
Yeah, mostly Twitter. That's where I live, basically. So that's Trump Girl Strong. Let's see. I have to look at my thing here because I don't remember any of my names. Facebook is facebook.com/SWFL Beach Babe. So Southwest Florida Beach Babe. Instagram, Saltwater Heart Patricia, I think. And
a lot more.
Yeah, I've been doing more Instagram and trying to do a little bit less of Twitter just because Twitter is so draining. Draining. It's like I have to have these conversations with people. Thank you. Yeah, I like to just do it all and dabble in everything and have fun. So whatever. Now, I'm single. I'm young. I can do whatever I want. saltwaterheartpatricia.com.
That's just a name.
Geez, I forgot to even look.
I'll put it on the site. So hold on 1 second, Patricia. I'll close this out, and I'm going to come back and say bye to you. Any parting words?
Okay. No, just keep supporting our president. If you do, if you don't, I really urge you to look into him more and stop believing what the MSM tells you because it's not true.
All right,
so
hold on 1 second.
That's really about it. Okay.
All right. Okay, everybody. This has been Francesco Abbruzzino with the Uncensored Report. Hope you guys enjoyed this interview. Everybody have a great day.